Have you ever seriously thought about the difference between the living and the inanimate? Not metaphysically or spiritually, but literally. For example, let's take an elephant and a huge boulder of absolutely equal weight. The first one runs and grazes the grass, the second one lies motionless, warming up under the sunlight. But from the point of view of molecular physics, they both consist of the same atoms. Only one can interact with the outside world and influence it at his discretion, for example, pour water from his trunk or go to sleep under a palm tree, and the second can do nothing because he does not have what we call life. Has anyone ever wondered what life is in general and what are its basic laws? From the point of view of biology, life is a form of existence of living matter, as well as the totality of all chemical and physical processes that take place in every living cell. But after all, living and inanimate matter consists of the same thing, only the assembly is different. One set of atoms made matter alive, and the second set created lifeless. There is an answer to this question, and it was answered by Richard Dawkins in his book The Selfish Gene. The main thesis of this book is that man and all other animals are machines created by genes. The author says directly that genes are something like microchips with which a living organism functions. These are, of course, chemical compounds, but it is their presence that turns the living into the inanimate. No matter how much knowledge and wisdom you have accumulated over the course of your life, not a single drop of it will pass to your children genetically. Each new generation starts from scratch. Genes use the body to stay the same. That is, the essence of genes is in genes. They made an elephant out of atoms so that it could run and reproduce, thereby preserving them in descendants. Thus, according to this theory, senile extinction is simply a byproduct of the accumulation in the gene pool of those late-stage lethal and semi-lethal genes that manage to pass through the networks of natural selection only because their effect manifests itself at a late age. That is, genes literally create life on Earth only in order not to disappear themselves. And as you probably guessed, they created not only an elephant, but also people like us. Probably now many people have remembered about the soul and the body, but that's not the point. Let's assume that in the future we will be able to reproduce genes with precision using special devices. Just take a set and create living and inanimate matter according to the instructions. Anything, because everything in the universe is made up of atoms, including stars and fried eggs that you ate for breakfast. But 3D printers would disagree with you. Today you can download any scheme from the internet and print a toy for children. It's only a matter of time before the printers of the future start printing living matter. And here a dilemma arises. Can we print a person? Here the printer scans you and every atom that your eye makes of you. And he starts typing exactly. And here you have the same person standing in front of you with the same thoughts, feelings and a scar on his ankle, received in childhood. Of course, you understand that this is your copy, but now she's talking to you and understands perfectly well that she's just been published. But doesn't that make her a person like you? An act of creation of living matter has just occurred in front of us. Logically speaking, your copy is not you. And this is not even a resurrection from the dead, but a simple replication. And is there anything in science that could lead us specifically to resurrection, and not to replication of ourselves? Konstantin Tsiolkovsky also asked this question. He was not only a scientist, but also a science fiction writer whose ideas are being brought to life today. And some have already been incarnated. In his novel Beyond the Earth, he writes that scientists, long famous for the world, turned into some kind of thinking machines, and therefore had a lot in common with each other. The main idea that slips through in his novel is that all great people will one day rise again and work for the benefit of man. He hardly says how it will be, perhaps in the form of thinking machines or artificially created people. But that time will come. Only our ignorance forces us to use fossil fuels and the need to replenish the atmosphere with carbon dioxide, the amount of which is extremely insufficient for plants. Ignorance is the most important factor of those who rule the world today. Also, they think they are managing. The bigwigs of huge capitals live on the principle of after us, at least later. What do they care about the whole of humanity when they have provided for themselves and perhaps several future generations for the rest of their lives? According to Dawkins, that's the way it is. If our genes are prone to selfishness, then why shouldn't they control the device that produces them? Of course, genes don't care if they are poor or healthy, elephant or lizard. Their goal is only to reproduce. To reproduce, as Darwin said. So the commandment be fruitful and multiply that God gives Adam in the Bible can be addressed to genes. But if that's the case, what kind of future awaits humanity? Tsiolkovsky believed that in the future we should inhabit not only the solar system, but also the galaxy. But to do this, you need to get out of the cradle, grow up. All wars and feuds of people on a cosmic scale are like a battle for a lollipop, which eventually falls to the floor and no one gets it. That is, we need to learn how to share and not grab as much as possible while no one sees or is allowed. We are children of the same Mother Earth, and if we do not learn to exist with each other, then genes will build another intelligent device in the future, and our existence will cease forever.